And we're live, I think. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Whoop, let me get that off the screen real quick. Yeah. We should be good to go now. Finally got things up and running. Took longer than I wanted it to, but, you know, hey, things are going to be a little bumpy today because it's our first one. Who, you know, gives a crap. Got a lot lined up for today. We got a lot of topics. We got a lot of things to talk about. Recent event, current events, and a hair of local events. We won't talk too much on local, but again, this is Rick Antonio's News Talk Report. I'm Rick Antonio, and let me actually let my co-host introduce himself as soon as, you know, the bumper decides to quit itself. So yeah,
right.
Here we go. First one on the bricks, you know. I mean, so much. I mean, I've already flubbed it up enough myself, but yeah. How you doing, Tyler?
Pretty good.
That's good. Yeah, again, pandemic, remote. He's remote. I'm remote. But hey, it works. So, how was your day, first of all?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
You know,
calm, relaxing.
Work.
I managed to squeak the day off somehow from work, so I'm not going to complain. There's still things to do for work, but that's the remote life at this point.
Yeah.
So just for a little bit of background, you want to tell them what you do?
I basically design routes for electrical poles.
So he's the guy that designs how things get from house to house when you need to get your power to run your computer, to run your stream, and then, you know, share it to the world. And then so he's working in the mapping and engineering area, and I'm more in the broadcast area, working in radio myself. Just for anyone that's watching that doesn't know already. Oh, there goes my camera. I'm moving too much. That's the thing. I'm a radio guy. I don't know cameras that well. Oops. But I'll cut the crap and get straight to the points. We've got topics. We've got 40 minutes. We're gonna get right on to it. Looks like we're cutting out a little bit. Oops. Maybe that's just because we're trying to record at the same time. I'll just grab it off the site later. Oh boy. Or it could be the home internet. Who knows? But for a first one, like I said, it's going to be a little rocky. Jumping right into the topics, and talk about some current events, international, national, who cares? Talk some stonks. We got.
Right.
I should have some of that music for that too. Just going from topic to topic, make it a little more impressive. Yeah, I'm very detail oriented, not focus oriented like I should be. So, starting right on the topic of whatever you want to call the last couple of weeks in stocks, my gracious co-host has managed to convince me to get in on that whole Robinhood game. You know, I've invested a whole $10 on it.
I convinced you.
What was that?
So I wouldn't really say I convinced you to do it.
Yeah, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and in that case as well, I'm only $10 in. You're a lot more in than I am.
Yeah, I mean, in total for like a whole bunch of different stocks, yeah. But I'm definitely playing the long game, not the make a quick buck based on Wall Street bets.
The get-rich-quick thing doesn't usually work for everyone, but at the same time, you know, some people it did. A little bit of background on what the hell we're talking about. Last couple of weeks, people have been investing on apps like Robinhood or SoFi, whatever you want to call them. And a lot of these people getting their advice off the internet, off of social media, and big multi-billionaire names like Elon Musk, Mark Cuban. It's like, hey, go buy this. Sure. Is it going to make me rich? Who knows? But a lot of people got mad when Robinhood started, you know, limiting them as to how much stock they could buy and all that sort of stuff. The big names in that limitation were GameStop and AMC. Is it American Movie Channel or is it the movie theater? Either way.
It's the movie theater.
Are they the same group? I don't know.
I don't believe
Either
so.
way, they were limited. People were limited in buying stocks for those companies on those apps. And I understand people are trying to make it a game, trying to make it a quick buck, but I don't see it as much from that angle. But the limitations is a problem. And I'm not going to put my
Yeah.
political opinions in because, again, news talk, not news opinion. But what's going on is the company was limiting people on what they can buy, and now things are starting to turn back up. I mean, as far as I understand, GameStop is starting to go back up again now that Robinhood has undone those limitations as of, was it today? So that's a neat thing to talk about.
From what I've seen, it was more of, at least according to Robinhood, they had to put a pause on people buying stuff because they had so many new applicants
Which
that
I get, and I can get that.
they're where they get their money from to like kind of front you the cost when you transfer money in.
I mean,
It was like
that's a different
their
reasoning
amount of
than I
money.
had heard previously.
Well, yeah, that's their final excuse reason for why
Excuse
they were doing
reason,
it.
yeah. What I had
Like
heard is
they gave a
that,
bunch of them, but that's the last one that they've given, and that is the most viable one in terms of not trying to screw
sound like a
people over
crook.
and
Yeah.
protect hedge funds, but at the same time, it's kind of like a you came up with this excuse so late in the game.
Why,
We don't really
just trying
believe
to
it.
cover your own butt. Um,
Right. If that would have been the very first thing they
it would have
said,
been more, people would
it
have
would have
said,
been more
okay, we
believable.
get it. That's how you
Right.
run. You put the money up, we pay you back, that sort of deal. That makes
Right.
sense. And at the end of the day, that's the Bible story. But initially, it was just that they're run by their own hedge fund this, hedge fund that, going broke.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they would, like I said, if they would have came out the gate with like a, hey, we have to pause people joining up, we have to pause, certain stocks that you can buy because we don't have the capital in our own system to front
Yeah,
you the money until your money is fully processed and deposited.
right. That makes more
That would
sense,
have
but
been it would have been more believable instead of just like, okay, well, we're pausing this, no reason given. Oh, now they're asking.
yeah.
Oh, this reason.
This reason, that reason. But
Oh, no, that didn't work.
matter of the
This
story is,
reason.
though, they still limited people, and now people from all across the political spectrum are getting in on it. And that's not,
Yep.
that's when you know you screwed up.
Yeah.
On to our next topic, just while we're staying on controversial things, because there are some people that are furious about the whole stock matter, even about people investing just $10 like me. It's like, another controversial, I guess, depending on how deep into this we want to go. Like I said, pandemic, that's why we're doing this at different locations. You're at home, I'm at home, we're all at home right now. And, the virus, won't go too into detail, but people are getting vaccinated now, thank goodness. And in that case as well, different types of vaccines are coming out. And right now, there are two major vaccines where you need shot part 1, shot part 2. Well, pharmaceutical giant Johnson & Johnson, and again, most of the information I got from that, the Robinhood GameStop topic was from Bloomberg. We're going to cite our sources here. That was from Bloomberg. This one's going to be from the Washington Post. That pharmaceutical giant Johnson & Johnson has submitted its single-shot coronavirus vaccine to U.S. regulators yesterday, as of, today's, not to date ourselves, but February 5th, so February 4th, yesterday afternoon, for emergency use authorization after it was shown to be robustly effective against the illness in a global trial, and especially at preventing severe disease and death. As someone who doesn't fall into the priority groups currently, I'm not 65 and I'm not, I don't know. The definition of essential worker seems to be changing every day, but now that it's only down to one shot, I think that's going to convince a lot of people to go get it.
Right.
Not going to have
But,
to
I mean,
go
at the
in
same
twice.
time, I feel like a lot of people, if they weren't going to get the shot to begin with,
They weren't going to get it.
probably still wouldn't want to get it now, anyways.
And there was something I shared on social media earlier today about masks, and I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was a picture of someone wearing their face covering. Everyone knows by now restrictions. You wear the covering into businesses. You wear it into places you're going to go eat. You cover your nose.
Right. Doesn't do anything if you cover
It doesn't.
your nose.
Not for anyone else. It might help you. I don't know. But
Like,
the point being made was that it takes less time to potty train a toddler.
Yeah.
So, and then you get into the people saying, forced compliance, this, that, and the other. But That's a totally different ballpark. I was just glad to see that there's a one-shot solution now. Now that it's not having multiple sessions, not having to go to multiple clinics or whatever just to get the shots. The Washington Post continues, the submission is a pivotal step towards reducing the burden of disease for people globally and putting an end to the pandemic. And the sooner the pandemic's over, the sooner we can get back to hosting the show in person like we had originally planned forever ago.
Yep.
I mean, the people I've told about this show at work, I mean, it's only been maybe a year, but we've been talking about this since we were in college. About doing this since we were in college, so it's been going a few years on this, but yeah, we got to. We at least got one episode, and we'll figure the rest out later, I guess.
Still got to work on our set schedule of when to do it.
Yeah, like I said, there's going to be some wrinkles that are going to.
Man, there is super busy.
Yeah, you're telling me. We'll get to that later on in the show, though. How busy things have been. In regards to sticking onto the virus discussion, not to get too far into it, a lot of people know that there's a famous pillow brand, My Pillow, and we won't get into the details of the guy and getting kicked off of Twitter and all that jazz, but he's got some competition now. So My Pillow was made by, Mike Lindell, and I really just try not to get flagged by saying his name or the brand, but he's had these theories, we'll call them, about voter fraud in this past election. And I'm not, again, talking politics, but I'm saying he's gotten kicked off of Twitter. That is a fact. He went on to his brand Twitter account. That is a fact. That also broke Twitter's terms and conditions, which is a fact. And he got kicked off of that account too. In that case, other people are trying to make competitors for My Pillow now. And one of those is David Hogue, Parkland shooting survivor. You know, he was one of the faces of a lot of the rallies going around after that happened. And he says he wants to launch his own My Pillow competitor, according to USA Today. Just checking on here. He wants to make his own pillow company to compete with My Pillow, who has, again, been insisting the election was rigged. But if they're still in business, that's going to be a whole different ballgame. As far as I know, My Pillow is still a business, whether they're being advertised, whether they can voice their opinion or not. He said in a CNN interview that they're hoping to find a union pillow factory to manufacture their product in the U.S., but it's very hard, quote unquote. In the interview, or actually on Twitter, I'm seeing, he said that him and his friend, looks like William Legate, are really starting a pillow company. And they're crowdsourcing ideas on what to name the company. So, going against My Pillow, what do you think they should name it?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of different names you could use for pillows.
Yeah, they said that Our Pillow is already taken.
Yeah, I mean, that also insinuates that you want to share the pillow, and no one
wants to do that. Other suggestions, at least according to USA Today, that are on here, trying to see who wrote that, Brett Molina, Not My Pillow, Y'all's Pillow, We the Pillow. I mean, there's plenty of different things to call it. If you're watching, throw it in the chat. What do you want to call it? Maybe send us a message on social media, on Twitter, Twitch. I have a Facebook page. We're not sharing it to Facebook just yet, but yeah, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Go ahead, comment on it. Message us. Who cares? What do you think David Hogue should call his pillow company as a competitor to My Pillow? Just to completely shift gears now, getting off the virus, getting off to conspiracies. Let's jump on something a bit more our range. NASA is working with SpaceX. And SpaceX is a company that, going back to the stocks talk we had, pretty influential. Didn't you say? Pretty influential with CEO Elon Musk.
Yep, head person right there, doing a whole bunch of stuff based on his Twitter. After he said he was going to not be on Twitter for a while, he posted more stuff about stocks and then posted pictures of stuff for SpaceX and related to stocks. But
And that lasted a
yeah,
whole 2 days. So,
right.
but yeah, Elon Musk is part of SpaceX, CEO with SpaceX and Tesla and all these starting companies. They're great companies. I mean, you got the Boring Company working on making tunnels for ultra fast railways, and then you've got Neuralink. Tell me that's not a sci-fi movie waiting to happen. Trying to make a brain connection for computers.
So I
Well,
feel like we're
that's
still a few years off
centuries,
from that.
decades.
But
Um,
well, because I know they do have there. I can't remember the name of the company at the moment, but there's a company that is working on for VR. It's like it kind of just connects to the back of your VR set, and the they're not really pins. They're like little clips
yeah,
that just rest against your skull or against your scalp or anything like that.
which
And it'll
yeah,
actually like work using your mind to try to like move things, turn things on, shift things around, and everything like that. So it's got that. So a full on
just the
Neuralink,
electric waves put off by our brain, and I can't think of the right term right now, but
right?
um, that's getting into some Sword Art Online territory, and that's
Yeah,
it's getting a little bit out there. But getting back to what's going on with SpaceX and NASA now, NASA has picked Elon Musk's SpaceX to help with a $99 million mission that will help map the creation of the universe. And not just the
I feel
creation,
like
but
would
to
be
map the
awesome.
galaxy.
I feel like that would be awesome as a geography uh, person. That's what I graduated with was a bachelor's in geography. So
Hmm.
it's like a dream come true for me to be able to go out and map something.
Space of all things.
Space
Uh,
would be great because like I'm not in the world in a spot where I could go out and map the Earth
mhm.
because for the most part that's already been done.
For the most part,
Like yeah, there's some spots that you still haven't you don't see on
roughly.
a map or anything, but it's hard to get to them anyways. So it's like
With satellites
but yeah,
nowadays, that's kind of Google Maps, all that sort of stuff. But
right.
one Earthbound option, if you are interested in it, I don't know what you want to do with it. Undersea mapping, and a lot of different. I know there are a couple of different options in terms of ocean currents, but undersea, under the water, under the. I'm not going to go Sebastian on you, but back
Yeah,
to back to
between between
SpaceX though.
between between like under the sea stuff and everything, and then like caves, there's still a lot of mapping you could do, but it's still hard to get to any of those and safely map any
Physically
of
and
them.
safely, yeah.
Yeah,
Back to SpaceX, though. NASA has picked SpaceX to help with the astrophysics mission dubbed SphereX. SphereX will be a space telescope due to launch via a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket in 2024 for a 2-year mission, which is awesome, in my opinion. The data collected will help astronomers understand how the universe was created, according to NASA. And this all again coming from Business Insider. NASA picked them for that mission just because of how much work they've done together. Again, due to launch June 2024, would blast off on the Falcon 9 from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. So
and I
assuming
would say
California hasn't fallen off the map, I heard of Highway 1 already falling into the ocean, turning a 45-minute drive for some people into a 2-hour drive, or 45-mile drive into a 200-mile drive. That's what it was.
yeah,
Yee.
but
Slippery slope
I
there, but
I kind of feel like SpaceX is the right people to go to work with NASA
yeah,
for this
SpaceX
specific thing,
or
just because they have had so much progress and just so much success
yeah,
with what they've been doing.
and
They
you can
sent
even
the two people up to the space station. I think they brought them back. I don't
mhm.
remember if they brought them back or not.
I don't know if they're back yet, but they will be coming back with SpaceX, and
Right.
um,
And they were sending more people up there.
they're going to be
So,
sending civilians up soon. I thought there was going to be a 6-man civilian. I don't know if man, woman, whoever, civilian trip, and in that case, that's some new people to space. And how do we know they're going to make it back and in one piece, because they had a recent explosion with the is it SN9 rocket over at a Texas launch facility. So I'm not first in line to go to space, but I would be interested in going.
Right. And even then, I feel like civilian, they'd have to kind of give them some sorts of courses,
right,
and do a couple of like actual physical tests to make sure they were capable of even going up there.
physically, yeah.
Yes, physically.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, they
then
do that. I
obviously
mean,
give them
you
that
ever
little
heard of
bit of
space
background
camp?
of like how to operate the system, just so that way if something happens and the people that are supposed to pilot it
Yeah,
aren't in a proper state of
incapacitated.
mind for some random reason, they can
What?
at least push a button or two to
Yeah,
get them back on track.
it's like, hey, bail out the mission, time to go home, launch the parachute, sort of thing.
Right.
Something else SpaceX is doing, they've been launching Starlink satellites, and I saw a couple of YouTube channels reviewing SpaceX, or not SpaceX, Starlink
Their
home internet.
Wi-Fi network.
Yeah, their Wi-Fi network. And recently, SpaceX launched another 60 Starlink satellites to provide low orbit. They're low orbit satellites providing internet for select areas across the planet. But, I mean, from what I've seen price wise, it's a bit out of my price range. But
Yeah, it's like
$100
I think it was like
a month.
I think
I mean, when you're paying
somewhere
15 to
between
45.
$100 and $200 per month, but it was you also need to pay like 400 or something like that for the equipment itself.
Oh, for the initial equipment.
Yeah.
Now, is that a monthly or is that? Yeesh.
Well, I think it's about 100 a month to pay for the internet itself, but the equipment cost itself, because it's still in its beta testing phase. The equipment was about $400, I believe.
Right. So
But
I
with
mean,
that, it
I
gives you
believe
like a
it.
whole satellite dish that you put on something around your property or whatever.
Okay.
It's supposed to be like 200 to 500 feet away from your house, just so you don't,
Oh, that ain't
fry
it.
yourself.
So you don't fry yourself?
Well, like because any of the electromagnetic waves that come off of it, they're not gonna
I haven't heard
hurt
anything
you.
about that.
Like, it's not a guarantee. Like, oh, you have to do this or you're gonna die or anything like that. It's more of like a, hey, to be on the safe side, this does collect these types of radio waves and signals and everything. So probably don't stand right next to it for,
Well, I
24
heard that it
hours
was
straight while it's turned on.
just as safe to put on top of your roof as the old satellite internets that people use out in the rural communities. The only difference is that it's
You don't want to be like right all up on them for 24 hours straight either.
Well, you don't want to be right
it's
next
more
to
just like
those. Even those you don't want to stand right next to all day. But that's what SpaceX is doing, and
I guess
I'm trying to pull up information on that rocket that blew up. So that actually, I have a clip from, was it the Weather Channel? Yeah, it was the Weather Channel of all places that had this, and let me play this back. I'm gonna play a couple seconds of it so we don't get banned. Don't we get hit with the hammer?
An explosive landing for SpaceX in South Texas.
That's the rocket exploding, of course.
The company's Starship SN9 prototype launched on Tuesday afternoon. It flew successfully to about 32,000 feet, but the unmanned rocket hit the ground in a fiery crash. The same thing happened to the SN8 prototype in December.
And that again, that's that from the Weather Channel, from, I'm trying to grab her name just so we can credit her, Danielle Banks, meteorologist. That's why I don't want to be first in line to go to space, because that's not something you want to happen on a recreational trip, because those kinds of things, I don't know if they make insurance for. I don't know if they make life insurance that covers that, but
I mean, at some point they probably will.
Eventually, when we're all,
once it becomes a semi-reliable thing.
Yeah, it says that Weather Channel and go ahead.
It'd be just like if you get onto a plane or on a ship or something.
Yeah, I'm just reading through this again. The FAA is currently overseeing an investigation into the crash of that SN9 rocket. It was a prototype of Musk's company again, trying to carry people to Mars. Shiny stainless steel rocket. Now, frying pans are stainless steel. You're saying a frying pan could get someone to space? No. Just don't put a whole bunch of rocket fuel in it. Apparently, had been delayed by the FAA because of an issue a couple of days prior, and because of the explosion the month before of the SN8 rocket, like she mentioned. They violated the terms of the FAA test license with the launch of that SN8 in December. So the fact that they were able to launch the SN9 brings attention. Are they going to just keep breaking the rules, or how are we going to get to space if we're held back by rules? I guess those are two different points you could make on there.
I kind of see where the FAA would come from,
right?
With like hey, at least triple check, quadruple check the weather, double, triple check flight patterns, like, because you don't want to try to launch a rocket at a time when there's
right
airplanes flying past.
Well, what happened with this, I guess there was an issue with the fuel being reused for landing. So, I don't know. That's something to be careful of. Looking towards this weekend now, actually, and assuming I don't get blasted out with whatever decides to play on here, because videos like to play themselves sometimes. Let's talk a little bit about sports before wrapping up, and then I'll talk about what was going on locally, I guess. Major League Baseball says they will be starting on time this year. And again, we'll get to the Super Bowl. That's the big ticket item for this weekend, but something that happened over the course of this week. Major League Baseball, according to NBC Sports, will proceed with an on-time start to spring training and the season after the players in the Players Union rejected a plan to delay reporting by more than a month for the season. This is coming from a statement in Major League Baseball statement in light of the MLBPA's rejection of their proposal to delay the season and the refusal to counter the revised offer that afternoon. We're moving forward and instructing clubs to report for an on-time start to spring training and the championship season. I think that's the right move with everything still going on. I know we're just now opening indoor dining here in Michigan, and a lot of places, I mean, even contact sports like wrestling, basketball, I don't know, basketball, contact sport, but defined as a contact sport, it's not tennis. We're just now being able to do that again here. And with that being so soon after that, I mean, Michigan basketball is still on hold as of the recording of this, just because of cases in the program. So baseball, I get it. It's not like you're running into people every single play, but is it the right move, do you think?
I mean, I feel like most sports should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, yeah, you can lower the amount of people allowed to be there. You don't have to have every single person,
right,
like, standing right on top of each other.
Right.
Or sitting right on top of each other. Like, there should be plenty of space. Plus, most sports are outdoors.
Right.
Outside of, basketball and hockey. And
it's like we said, they're not running up into each other's faces.
Right.
So,
like, yeah, you get decently close to other people playing basketball and even playing baseball.
Yeah.
But
there's ways to be safe about it.
Far enough away.
There's ways to be safe about it.
Right.
Shifting gears from baseball to football, just because we're running tight on time here. Super Bowl 55 this weekend, and for all intents and purposes, Tom Brady might as well be 55. He's what 43 right now, and he's still playing. He was playing when I was little, when I was learning what football even was. And somehow, again, this year being his first not in the Patriots organization, him playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he's led them to a home team Super Bowl. As in, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hosting the Super Bowl, and they're also playing in it. First time that's ever happened before, apparently. And I've seen reports that they're not going to fire off the cannons on the pirate ship in the stadium whenever they score, which is fine. Neutral playing field, I get it. It's still, I would be hyped. I'd be hyped up for this.
Oh, yeah.
Again, Kansas City Chiefs taking on Tampa Bay Bucks.
Like, even though I'm not a fan of him, that's still like shows who's
the boss.
More key for where he was at before to where he is now.
Yeah, and you take a look at how the New England Patriots finished on the season. We're starting to see maybe it was him this whole time. You want to get in the greatest of all time GOAT talks. That gets into a touchy subject. People are still, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw. I never considered Terry Bradshaw up there in that talk. He's a great player, but let's talk about the game itself for a minute or two. The game, Tampa Bay Bucks against the Kansas City Chiefs. And now that I'm thinking about it, we actually have more time than I thought because we had that whole intro bit. So my timing's off. Sorry. Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Tom Brady and head coach Bruce Arians taking on amazing athlete in Patrick Mahomes. It shouldn't have taken me that long to think of his name. Him and head coach Andy Reid, this is going to be their second year in a row in the Super Bowl, and they're looking for the first back-to-back Super Bowl wins since Tom Brady did it with the Patriots however long ago.
That's what I'm rooting for. I'm all in right now on them.
You want
mentally.
the Chiefs?
Yeah, most definitely.
I want Brady to get his 7th ring. He was saying that he almost chose number 7 with the Buccaneers just to meme on us all and say, hey, I'm going for the 7th ring. I'm picking number 7 this year. That way Chris Godwin didn't have to change his number 12 jersey. The game's starting this Sunday on CBS, from my understanding. My station at work, we're going to be carrying it too. I'll be there running it. But just to look at what's going to be going on in the game, it's a 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central start time. A look at the last couple of games for the teams in the Super Bowl. You got the Buccaneers, who were actually the 5th seed. They were a wild card team, taking on last game the Green Bay Packers, the previous number 1 seed. With Aaron Rodgers, and now that's contentious as to whether he's going to come back. They beat them 31-26. At first, that game was a blowout with the Tampa Bay on top, and they just sort of, it's like, okay, we're going to chill for the rest of the game, and Green Bay started coming back, but 31-26 is still something to, that's a good way in. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs, and I know I should be breaking stats down more. That's a matter of preparedness, but this isn't just a sports podcast. This isn't just a sports talk. This isn't just a sports show.
Right.
Kansas City Chiefs, first seed in the AFC, taking on the Buffalo Bills. Wait a minute. You mean the AFC East that the New England Patriots formerly ran? They were the number 2 seed, meaning it was 1 and 2. So they were the best 2 teams the AFC could provide. Chiefs beat them 38-24. And that, I didn't watch the whole thing on that, but I thought the Chiefs jumped out to an early lead. Big lead.
I've been so busy. I haven't been watching much of anything.
So
I haven't been
this year,
too much. I just knew that they were the ones that were in the Super Bowl, so I was like, well, cool.
This year, looking at the ceremonies that are going to be going on, as listed, and I'm actually pulling more information off the frickin' Wikipedia page than any other site because a lot of people are just talking about the history of Tom Brady, the history of Patrick Mahomes, the history of Andy Reid. Let's talk about the game itself, maybe. National anthem, Eric Church, Jasmine Sullivan. I'd have to do my research on Eric Church, but he's a country star, and he was pretty high on the charts from my understanding. Halftime, like I said, as listed. I know halftime shows, they usually bring in surprise actors, surprise performances. Right now, it's just The Weeknd, as listed. But, with the pandemic, he might be the only one. Who knows? And he could be digital, too. Like, he could be virtual, just like us. He could be pre-recorded for all we know.
I feel like The Weeknd would be a good choice if it's going to be something like that, because a lot of his stuff does have to be, set to certain electric parameters, I guess.
Yeah, he's got some. No, I'm not going to say auto-tune because he does a great job without it. I mean, he's got.
I'm talking about just like the whole production of all of his music.
All of his music and the performances, but there's other. He does live performances though. He had before this year done live performances, so it's doable. It's just how is he best? How does he fit into his music the best? So, and what concerns me though is his recent bout with plastic surgery. Did you see his puffed up face after? And I'm not going to knock him because body image. Never bash on that. If he feels he needs the work, then go right at it. But it kind of plays into one of his highest charting songs, Can't Feel My Face. I mean, it writes itself sometimes. I mean, good for him if he's correcting that, but I'm not going to bash it.
Right.
Let's see what else is going on with the Super Bowl. It's going to be on CBS and ESPN Deportes, like I was saying, CBS. Announcers, we got Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, former quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and apparent Romostradamus is what people were calling him, because he was calling out plays before they happened. But I'm glad that the Patriots are going to be the home team. And when I say home team, effectively the home team, because they're wearing their white jerseys.
You mean the Buccaneers?
What did I say?
Patriots.
Yes, the Buccaneers. Yes, the Buccaneers. Sorry, the Tom Bradys. The Tampa Bay Tommies. What do you want me to call them? I'm just, I should have called the Kansas City Chiefs the Philadelphia Eagles, but jeez, with Andy Reid leading them, but kind of day I'm having. So, that about does it for sports. Again, we won't get into local sports too much because unless something astronomical happens, but
I do know one other thing sports-wise. Over the weekend, I think it was.
This past weekend.
The U.S. played a friendly match against Trinidad and Tobago, and
soccer?
beat them. Yeah.
Oh.
And they beat them 6-0.
Wow, that's domination. Is that a regular? I'm not too
totally crazy. Like, you're more likely to see games that go 0-0,
1-0, maybe
2-0, sometimes 3-0, or any variation of like 1-2, 2-1. Like, there's gonna be some kind of closeness normally.
Gotcha.
But
yeah,
granted, it was just a friendly match, but that was apparently the worst.
One of the worst.
Trinidad and Tobago has lost to another team by.
Wow.
Really right up there. I think they lost by 7 to someone else at one point. I'm not positive on that. I can't quote perfectly on that one.
Okay.
But that was pretty crazy, and I watched most of that game. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, I'm not too up to speed on soccer, but that still is absolute domination there. On to our last topic of the show today as we're getting ready to wrap things up. Let's talk about things in the news, not so much locally, but just eye-popping, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm at the news station. I do this, trying to keep my opinion to myself most of the time, and I try to keep my opinion to myself on here by providing the facts and sourcing our facts. Oh my goodness. Well, like I said, Wikipedia of all places. On the Super Bowl, we were talking about NBC and CBS as those sources. Major League Baseball, I got that from NBC and their Major League Baseball source. I mean, how far back do you want me to go? I said weather.com. So, but yeah, these I can just source myself because things that happened at least locally around here. I mean, there was and I was a busy week this week. I got about a minute. Got a guy, car crash, fires near movie theaters. A guy around here trying to kill state police by booby-trapping his home. He's going to be going under a psychiatric evaluation. I won't get into details of it, but he was accused of using a stolen credit card and trying to kill police when they served a search warrant at his home last month. And he's just got a lot going on there. That's a lot to unpack, and he was... it looks like he was actually a Department of Corrections officer in the 80s and 90s. So he knew what they were going to be doing, what they were going to be looking for. And then there was another case.
When they came in the first time to his house, he told them, like, hey,
Right.
You're not coming in without a warrant.
Right. So.
And so they had to leave and go get a warrant. So.
Yeah, that's what they said. And they came back and he tried to rig things. So, well, that about does it for this week. Thanks again for everyone listening, and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks for listening.